don't believe one bit of the Michael Jordan flu game. Can I even still call it the flu game? Should I call it the food poison game? Should I call it the pizza game? Should I call it the delivery guy game? I don't believe one bit about the Michael Jordan flu game story that we got in that ESPN Last Dance documentary. First off, let me just acknowledge this. That documentary was absolutely phenomenal from episode 1 to episode 10. Great storytelling. I feel like ESPN maximized every bit of information, clips that they had to give us just this incredible documentary that I will watch over and over again for the remainder of my life. It was just that sensational. It was that compelling to watch as a fan of this game. It was great to watch. But we ain't going to act like Michael Jordan didn't give us more than enough reason to believe that he sometimes lied. And be clear, if I were Michael Jordan, meaning I'm one of the most famous people on this earth, I'm not going to act like I wouldn't lie from time to time to save face. He had an image that me or you can't even fathom having an image like that. Does that mean that I would sometimes shy away from political conversations, from social issues that happen? Maybe. I hope to believe that I do the right thing, right? But I can't imagine being that famous to not just his own people, not just his own race, his own complexion, but the world looked at this man as superhero. So I'm not trying to justify Michael Jordan being a liar. I'm just saying I can't even fathom being that famous to be in that position in which I was faced with decisions in which something as small as having the flu or being sick or going out and gambling would be a mainstream story in my life. I can't even understand that. Like, could you imagine going and losing a couple $100 and it being, and I'm talking relatively speaking, and it being a national story? That was Michael Jordan's real life. But in regards to the flu game, I don't believe one bit of that story. We're not going to act like Michael Jordan in that said documentary didn't give us enough evidence to believe that he was sometimes unbelievable. I mean, look at some of the stories that played out in that documentary from Michael Jordan's father. Be clear, I don't know what the heck happened to Michael Jordan's father. It's a very sad story. God rest the dead. But I want to be clear when I say this. I don't think the little bit of that documentary that we got about Michael Jordan's father, I don't think that documentary answered any questions. As a matter of fact, I leave that portion of the documentary with more questions than I had walking into it about his father and what happened during that weird, infamous trip that cost him his life going to Charlotte, North Carolina. And there are some things that I don't feel comfortable going in depth about in regards to just the random trips that Michael Jordan's father apparently took away from Michael Jordan's mother. I don't want to even talk about that. That's not my place. Him going to sleep on the side of the road, I don't want to go far into that because I know black men in my life that have these weird rituals that they seem to can't get rid of. So that doesn't seem so far-fetched for a man to just fall asleep on the side of the road, but it does leave you questions. It does leave you questions. So in regards to Michael Jordan's father, I'm not saying Michael Jordan and his team and whomever are lying about that story. Be clear, that could be the complete honest truth, or that could be just the furthest thing from the truth. We will never know, probably for the most part. We will never know. And then that's what Michael Jordan felt comfortable giving us. Again, his father died. He lost his father. Obviously, you can see it's something that he wasn't too comfortable going in depth about. The gambling situation that led to Michael Jordan going and playing baseball. I don't know if Michael Jordan got suspended from the NBA for 18 months. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would David Stern want to do that? You'd rather Michael Jordan be on the court and deal with whatever comes with that than him going and playing baseball. Do I know everything about that situation? No, I don't. Did the documentary give us everything about that situation about him going and playing baseball? It leaves some questions. I think it was easy for Michael Jordan just to cop out and say, it was because my dad wanted me to always play baseball. You can't question him going and putting it on somebody that he had just recently lost, right? So it made perfect sense for that to be the reason why he went and played baseball. He was tired. Is that the truth? Maybe. Maybe not. But when we get further and further into this documentary, Jordan gave us more than enough reasons to know, like, yo, this dude was the greatest of all time from a basketball sense. That doesn't mean he was the greatest person of all time. We saw how he treated his teammates. So you saw the way he treated Burrell. You don't think that means he could lie to his teammates or treat his teammates badly? You don't think the guy that treated Scott Burrell like crap is capable of lying just because he's the greatest basketball player of all time? Those two things don't have to go parallel. You do realize that, right? And I want to focus on one story that seems to be a blimp in the grand schemes of this documentary. On episode 8 of The Last Dance, we learned about Michael Jordan's imaginary rivalry with LeBradford Smith. You know LeBradford Smith of the Washington Bullets. Sum up a long story, the Chicago Bulls had a home and home against the Washington Bullets. LeBradford Smith on the front end of that home and home goes at Chicago, drops 37 points on the Chicago Bulls. He, according to Michael Jordan, walks up to Michael Jordan, talking smack, obviously happy about dropping 37 on the great Michael Jordan, the Bulls in their prime. He goes up to Mike, and according to Mike, says, "Nice game, Mike." So, again, it's a home and a home, so they're playing those dudes in the Washington Bullets the next night. So, according to Michael Jordan and his teammates, he gets on a plane and tells his teammates that this dude came up to me talking crap, telling me nice game. So, Mike apparently says, next game, I'm going to give it to this dude. I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to have exactly what he had in this game. Michael Jordan goes out and does what the greatest of all time does, and he went out and dropped 36 in the first half. So pretty much matched the LeBradford Smith point for point. Well, then right after that, we find out from Michael Wilbon that he just made the story up. Wait, what? How's that just a blip in the documentary? He just made the story up about LeBradford Smith. He used that nice game, Mike, which is an imaginary story that never happened. He used that as motivation to go out and dominate the Washington Bullets that night. By the way, the fact that he could make up stuff in his head, like literally a story that if no one else knows what the truth is, he knows what the truth is. The fact that he can essentially lie detect, test himself into believing something to give him the motivation to go out and destroy his opponent tells you just how competitive and great this guy was. But it also tells us that he was a liar. We have evidence in that documentary that he would lie to save face for Michael Jordan, to make it better for Michael Jordan. So to believe a story about the flu game, that 5 guys went inside of the hotel that the Chicago Bulls were staying in, they walk in with a pizza, they give this pizza that was poisoned, and they give it to Michael Jordan, and he eats it. He eats the entire pizza by himself, and it gets him sick. You want me to believe that story? By the way, I've eaten a pizza by myself, but 5 guys ain't deliver it to me. Okay, it's Michael Jordan. Maybe they want to see the great Michael Jordan. You want me to believe that the Chicago Bulls, Tim Grover and company, you want me to believe this story that they allowed 5 guys to get this in the building of Michael Jordan just to get a glimpse of him, to deliver a pizza to him. You want me to believe 5 guys delivered a pizza to Michael Jordan? That's just unbelievable. And isn't that like attempted murder? Isn't that like premeditated murder? Like, how do you know to poison a pizza just enough not to get Michael Jordan up out of here to kill him, but just enough to get him sick for Game 5 against the Utah Jazz in the 1997 NBA Finals? You knew to poison a pizza just enough to make Michael Jordan hurl and be sick on the sideline as he's playing a basketball game? Who does that? How do you know the exact moment, and how do you know the exact temperament to poison a pizza? You don't think if the pizza took 3 to 4 hours to get to Michael Jordan, at some point in time, Michael Jordan and his team would have had question marks about the pizza and just canceled the order? So we know you didn't call anybody to go ask just how much poison should I put in the pizza, or how to poison the pizza just enough to get Michael Jordan sick to the point where he's not able to perform at the greatest version of himself for Game 5 in the NBA Finals, and then still be well enough to live afterwards. Wait, what? How does that happen? I don't believe one bit of that story. I'm fine with it, but it is ridiculous that 20 years of history, we thought for 20 years, over 20 years, that Michael Jordan's flu game was about him actually being sick as a fool because of weather conditions, because of possibly being around somebody who was sick. It is ridiculous that they tried to give us this 5 to 7 minute piece that changed history. I mean, shoes have come out. Stories have come out about this infamous flu game. And now all of a sudden, randomly, you just tell us that it wasn't the flu at all. It was just food. It was just pizza. Poison pizza. That doesn't even sound believable in another world. And Michael Jordan has showed us he will lie. I'm fine with lying, Michael Jordan. It helped create the greatest basketball player of all time. But don't tell me I don't have the reason to believe that Michael Jordan was a liar. He gave a multitude of situations, predicaments to leave me questioning, was that the truth? That was Michael Jordan. That's the mystery of Michael Jordan that helps make him the greatest basketball player of all time.